Right now, there is a huge shift in the world of search. People are using AI chat tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Gemini to find information, products, and services that previously they would have gone on to Google for. Just check out this Google Trends graph. ChatGPT interest has gone up 50% in the last 3 months. And with some data like this Ofcom study showing that major search engines like Google are actually losing users in some areas, it's clear that marketers cannot ignore this shift. But here's the good news. With these AI tools like ChatGPT becoming more comfortable with recommending products, services, and businesses to their users, there is a massive opportunity to drive traffic and sales from these tools if you know how to get them recommending your business. And this is exactly what we're seeing with our clients at Exposure Ninja. Yes, many businesses are losing informational organic traffic from search, but we're seeing the ones that can get their visibility high in AI tools getting a lot more branded traffic. We're going to talk about this a bit more later, but we're not the only ones to notice this pattern. This report from Adobe also showed that in Q3 last year, there was a massive spike in the amount of traffic websites were getting from these chat tools. And according to some sources, ChatGPT users have quadrupled since this point. Of course, Google is not sitting back just allowing this disruption to happen. We covered in a previous video its new AI mode, and it's added AI overviews into its search results for some time. For example, here, how to clean floor tile grout. We got our client who we got previously ranking at the top of regular search, also featured in the AI overviews answer. But here's the problem. Ranking on Google through traditional SEO isn't enough to get visibility in this new era of AI search, whether that's in Google search results, in AI overviews or AI mode, or in other tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Claude. So in this video, we're going to share what to do to improve your visibility across all of these AI search tools. This is AI search optimization. We're going to show some examples, give you some recommendations of tools, and share our predictions for where this is going. It's no exaggeration to say this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity for businesses that can figure this stuff out and have these AI tools recommending them. Just like when SEO first came to the fore in the 2000s, we saw businesses grow and we saw businesses decline based on whether they were able to use this new tool to drive more custom. We think we're going to see exactly the same pattern here as users move over to this new generation of AI search. So you want to be on the cutting edge of it, but that's cool, we got your back. We're pioneers in this area. You want to learn what to do. Sounds like a match made in heaven, let's go. Okay, broadly speaking, AI search optimization has 3 main components. You need to do some regular SEO. You need to optimize your content, and you need to shape and increase the sentiment and mentions of your brand, products, and services online. We're going to go into a bit more detail on each of these 3. The good news is that AI search optimization can be incredibly fast. I'd love to tell you which Exposure Ninja client this is for, but unfortunately I can't. But as you can see, their visibility in AI overviews, which is the AI bits at the top of Google search results, increases significantly quarter on quarter as we go through the process I'm going to share in this video today. So let's start with the easy bit, traditional search engine optimization. So if you want to get AI tools to recommend you, why do you need to be good at SEO? Well, when you search on a tool like Perplexity for something like best travel backpacks, what happens is the AI tool goes off and does a bunch of searching on the web for you. It basically goes and does some Googling. Now, it might not use Google. In Perplexity's case, it's thought to use its own browser, but basically there are a few different search indexes. We've got Google, we've got Bing, we've got Brave, and then we've got some custom ones. So when a tool like Perplexity does a search for best travel backpacks, it's running lots of web searches in the background, and it's pulling out content, which is then summarizing and giving the user an answer. In Perplexity's case, we don't get to see what those searches are anymore. We used to. And that's also true with ChatGPT. Some tools will tell you what they're searching for, although this needs to be taken with a grain of salt because I do suspect that some of the time these searches are hallucinated. For example, in Gemini, I've searched for the same thing, best travel backpacks for kids, and it's told me that it's searching for these different keywords. Whether or not it's actually using these keywords, it's impossible to say. But nevertheless, when you have a look through the articles that these tools are using as sources, they are often optimized for very straightforward SEO type phrases. Here's an article on The Independent, best travel backpacks in 2025. We've got one in the New York Times, best carry-on travel backpacks. We've got Gap Year Adventure, buy travel backpacks. It's exactly the sort of content that you would expect to see ranking for a best travel backpacks type search. And this is what we found with our clients too. If we want to get them recommended by these AI tools, we first have to get them ranking well in regular search. Now that's not enough on its own, but it is a really important foundation. The next thing that we like to work on is the content structure on the pages that we are trying to get recommended. We noticed as early as the first part of 2023 that these AI tools tended to use and cite content that was written in a certain way. Short, simple sentence structure, clear headings, content that had been organized for quick scanning. When we're optimizing for AI search tools, we'll often add an intro paragraph at the start that provides a summary or a clear answer, a bit like how we optimize for Google's featured snippets. Another thing that we found to be really important is sharing first-hand experience of the topic that you're writing about. Remember, if an AI tool is going to cite your content as a source, there needs to be some justification for that. If your content is just generic, thin, dare I say, AI-produced garbage, there's absolutely no reason why the AI tool would need to cite that source. It can produce that stuff itself. Whereas the sort of stuff that works well and tends to get recommended is content like this, right? In this article, it's clear that the author actually had the backpacks and tried and tested them. We've also got a bit of a description here that makes the author seem like an expert on this topic. This is also something that Google has been keen to emphasize and recommend that content creators do, is add their first-hand experience, add data, add statistics, add the sorts of stuff that the AI can't produce itself if you want it to recommend and feature your content. For example, let's look in a bit more detail at this content, which has been featured in the Perplexity search. Now, firstly, it's a nicely presented page. It's not cluttered with ads. This is the sort of page that we'd expect to rank well in regular search as well. It looks like it's being updated frequently. We've got some information about the author. We've got some really good recommendations with a concise summary at the top. We've then got a much more detailed research section, which includes things like why you should trust us. I mean, look at all of this content, all about travel backpacks. This is so in-depth. It's exactly the sort of stuff that Google loves to feature, and lo and behold, it's exactly the sort of stuff that a lot of these AI tools tend to feature as well. But also consider different content types. You'll often see videos or Quora threads or Reddit threads being cited in an AI answer. In this Perplexity result, for example, we've got this YouTube video here. Is your brand producing videos? Do you have videos which are optimized for different searches which are showing up in the regular search results? If so, that could be a way that you could get your brand recommended in these AI answers. Okay, so you've done your SEO, you've got some visibility. You've made sure your content is really good and exactly the type of thing that these AI tools like to recommend. And by the way, if you're watching this thinking, I really just want someone to do this stuff for us, well, maybe the team at Exposure Ninja can help because we are pioneers in this area. You can either just reach out and get in contact, or you can request a marketing review and we'll do a bespoke analysis of what you need to do to improve your visibility in AI search. Not everyone's eligible, so you do need to apply for this, but either way, go to exposureninja.com, get in touch, and let's get these chat tools recommending you. Now for the piece that I think very few businesses are doing currently and are going to have to do a lot more of, and that is increasing the mentions and improving their sentiment across the web. What does that mean? Well, let's look at this ChatGPT search where I've just asked, what's the best iPad case? Looking for something strong but looks nice too. Now, I'm delighted to see that Exposure Ninja client Zugu Case's products are being recommended in the first 2 positions here. That is fantastic. Now, part of that is because the website is really well optimized. Part of that is because they're already ranking well in search. But a big part of the success here is because of the number of mentions for Zugu Zugu case across the internet and also the sentiment attached to the brand. Let's take a closer look. So if we go down here and we have a look at the sources, we will see the number of sources that are being pulled to create this answer is pretty amazing, really. And we've got a combination of high authority publications like NY Mag and Wired.com, Laptop Mag, as well as the brand's own website, ZuguCase.com. Then we've got some user-generated content sites like the Apple forums, Reddit, YouTube, and more Reddit. And then, of course, because ChatGPT wants to recommend products and link through to a website, we've also got Amazon being featured here as well. Because all of these AI tools go out to so many different sources to essentially learn about the product or the space that they're going to be recommending, they're picking up on lots of sentiment, reviews, and recommendations of the products, both on high authority publications and on user-generated content sites like Reddit and Quora. One of the things that we've done to help Zugu get such great visibility in search is get their products onto technology sites that post these incredible detailed reviews, which tend to rank really well. That means that when one of these AI tools goes and does its web search, it keeps seeing Zugu case being recommended. These tools then notice the sentiment, the common threads, the features that keep popping up in all of these different places, and that's what they then use to recommend the products to the end user. As we talked about recently in the AI mode video, this requires a business that's going to make the most of this new era of search to be crystal clear about what it wants to be known for. In the iPad space, for example, Zugu is known for durability and functional design, but they also look pretty good. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going after low cost and lightweight. They have consciously let go of that audience to go after durability and high quality design. And this is going to be something that's increasingly important for brands that want to do really well in AI search. They need to be clear about what they want to be known for, and then when they are featured on various websites across the internet, they need to make sure that those features, those benefits, are the things that are being talked about. That way the AI tools build up a really consistent picture of what your brand, products or services are about. And this is quite a departure from the world of traditional SEO. With the world of traditional SEO, all you really needed to do to pick up business was just be found at the top of the list. You didn't really need to be clear about your positioning or what made you different at all. If somebody was searching for a kid's backpack and you just had a whole bunch of kids' backpacks and you were ranking at the top of Google for kids' backpack, you'd end up selling a whole bunch of kids' backpacks. Whereas now, you need to make your case online so that the AI tools, when they're doing their research, they can see, oh yeah, you need to go and buy from this website because X. And it's that because X which is going to become increasingly important as we move to a world of AI search and eventually agentic shopping, where these AI tools are actually going and doing the research themselves and actually doing the shopping for you. Luckily at Exposure Ninja, we got a digital PR team that are amazing at doing this, getting our clients featured on lots of different websites. And we also run something called the Brand Accelerator, where we help a business work out what it needs to be known for. We'll talk to the customers to see, why did you choose this particular brand or product over its competitors? We can then use those features, those quotes, the things that the customers care most about in the marketing, so that these AI tools build up a really clear and coherent picture of exactly what you're about. Another area that AI search is distinct from traditional search is how you monitor and tweak it. If you wanted to see where you're ranking for a particular search on Google or Bing, you would just use a tool like SEMrush and it would show you, hey, you're ranking in position 3. Now, AI search is much fuzzier because the answers are being created each time. So that means if you want to measure your performance across AI search, you have to use a new era of tools. Now, companies like SEMrush have adapted to this. SEMrush has an incredible AI toolkit that you can use to see how you're performing across search. And I think this AI toolkit actually gives us a glimpse into a world where we, the marketers, using tools like this, have much more influence over the businesses that we're working with. Now, that might sound like quite a grand statement, but let me show you why I think this is the case. So here I am inside the AI toolkit. I've done a search for Vanguard.com, which is a financial site that offers various different funds. And I'm going to talk you through the interface and then explain why this is so profound and why so many marketers will need to learn this new language in order to be useful and feed this information back to the rest of the organization organizations so it can win in this new era of AI search. So what the AI toolkit allows us to do is have a look at how our brands are being recommended and performing across different types of AI search. We've got ChatGPT, we've got SearchGPT, Perplexity, and then other models that are coming soon. We're going to stay into ChatGPT for this demo. We can see some overall information, market share against different competitors here. We can see sentiment, so whether the chat tools think of our brand positively or negatively. And then if we go down here, we get some more detail about this. We're going to go into all of this in a bit more detail in just a minute, but just straight from these indications, you can see what these chat tools think of as your company's strengths and also what they think of as weaknesses. And remember that all of this is based on sentiment from users. This is user-generated content that is being pulled through by these chat tools and sort of regurgitated here. So it's actually a really good market research tool, as well as something that as marketers we will long-term look to influence, so these tools are recommending us more often. Now, what I really love about the AI toolkit from SEMrush is you also get these AI strategic opportunities. So at the bottom of all of these different reports, it gives you suggestions about things to do, short, medium, and then urgently. What you'll notice from some of these is, yes, sometimes it might be, hey, you need to produce content about this particular topic, but sometimes it'll actually be, you need to upgrade your digital advisory and customer service thing, because this is an area that your business is really falling down on. And that's what I mean about we as marketers with tools like this are going to be able to influence the rest of the organization, because we are essentially taking the feedback from our customer base and funneling that to other people in different departments in order to be able to make the product better so that it can be recommended more often. I think this is such a profound change in digital marketing and potentially makes us more important to the companies that we're working with than ever before. So as well as this overall dashboard, we get these 3 different types of reports. So these 3 reports dive into different areas. Business landscape is about how your business compares to your competitors. The brand and marketing is about things that you're known for, things that you might want to talk about a bit more. And then audience and content is basically identifying content gaps. Let's start with the business landscape piece first of all. We've got a nice overview of our market position, how we sit against competitors and things that we might want to focus on. Then we've got some market share trends over time. And again, these recommendations at the bottom, some of them with an urgent time frame. So this is telling us that Vanguard needs to have more ESG fund innovation and active stewardship communications. I mean, this is just not the sort of feedback that you're used to getting from an SEO tool, right? This is like business strategy feedback. And I think that is so powerful. The brand and marketing report gives us some insight into the things that we might want to emphasize, the things that we might want to talk about a bit more in our marketing. For example, our low cost fees and expense ratios of Vanguard, that's something that people really like. Whereas maybe what we might want to have is a bit more human interaction in the digital advisory services. So it's like messages and tweaks that we might want to make there. Again, we get all of these recommendations, and there's another recommendation here which is actually quite profound and not just about digital marketing. In the audience and content report, we get some recommendations about the types of content that we might want to produce. So all of this is broken down by query intent. So query intent is breaking down all the different types of things that people are asking these tools and chunking them down into whether they're looking for information, they're looking to learn in education, whether they're comparing, so it's a bit further down the funnel, for support if they're an existing customer, purchase, like real bottom of the funnel, or improvement. We then get that type of breakdown again, but this time for each of the different topics that we're getting coverage for. For example, fees, pricing, and cost comparison is people asking fee-related queries about companies like Vanguard. So not only do we get a breakdown of the query intent here, but we also get specific topics that we might want to cover in our marketing. And this is really useful when you're planning your content strategy. Remember, with content strategy, what we've historically looked at is things like keyword search volume to make sure we're producing the sort of content that lots of people are searching for. What this allows us to do is to produce content that fills in gaps in the LLM's knowledge, in the AI's knowledge. And if we can fill in those knowledge gaps for the AI tools, we can then help them to give better recommendations for us when they're mentioning us to potential customers. We get those recommendations across all of the key topic areas, and then at the end, we get more opportunities. Monitoring and experimenting, constantly tweaking is really important with AI search optimization. When we're working on a client campaign to improve their visibility in search, we are constantly tweaking the format of the content, the targeting, and then going back to these tools to see how we're doing. How is that changing perception? Of course, some of these things aren't a quick fix. If you're going to get your brand visibility across the internet, you're going to fundamentally change the sentiment that is seen about your brand across the internet. That is going to take months or even potentially years. But some of these changes, like content formatting, can show up very quickly, sometimes in a matter of hours, in the results that you're getting from these AI tools. One thing is clear though, the cat is out of the bag. This is the direction that things are going. Traditional search's days are for sure numbered. Now that doesn't mean SEO is dead, of course, because SEO is fundamental if you're going to win in this new era of AI search. The thing I find myself saying most often to marketers who are terrified by this new era though, is don't panic. Remember that people are going to be buying the same number of things online as they always have done. Yes, your informational organic traffic might drop. We've seen that with clients, right? We've seen some clients where their informational organic traffic has dropped because people are now doing their research in these chat tools. But for those clients, if we increase their visibility in these AI search tools, we actually see their branded traffic go up, because now people are doing their research in the chat tool, then they're going back to Google or they're going back to their AI tool to find a link to our client's website to actually make the purchase. So all is not lost. Just because you might be losing some informational organic traffic, it doesn't mean that this needs to be negative for your business. In fact, quite the opposite. If you can get in front of this, if you can adapt to this new world of digital marketing quicker than your competitors, you could see some real gains. Remember, the results from this stuff can be pretty fast. If improving your visibility in AI tools is a priority for your marketing, and you want to work with a company that's been a pioneer in this space since the very early days, then Exposure Ninja might be able to help you. We got a team of 76 crack ninjas that are amazing at doing this stuff for our clients. If you're interested in working with us, go to exposureninja.com/review and request a digital marketing review. We can take a look at your visibility in these AI tools and give you a personal, bespoke roadmap to improve that visibility over time. This service is free, but it's important to say not everybody is eligible. You do need to apply for this review, so go to exposureninja.com/review to do that today. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, leave us a comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.